Hi YouTube, Watchify here with another video. So to say I'm late to the party in regards to covering these two Seiko Sarb models is an understatement, but I will nonetheless provide my take on owning these two popular discontinued Seiko automatics and why I purchased them. Let's get the specs and dimensions out of the way. I measure the case size at 38.2 millimeters. Lug to lug distance is 44.6 millimeters. Thickness is 11.8 millimeters and the lug width is 20 millimeters. The watches weigh 126 grams on bracelet and size to my 6 3/4 inch wrist. So in terms of size, the 38 millimeter case size is going to wear well on most wrist sizes. I think 38 to 40 millimeters is a really good place to be in terms of case size when it comes to a non-diver watch. These Sarbs are water resistant to 10 bar or 100 meters and have the Seiko 6R15 automatic movement inside, and that has a 50-hour power reserve. It beats at 21,600 beats per hour and has an accuracy rating of plus 25 to minus 15 seconds a day. The 6R15 movement features hacking and hand winding also. Here they are on my time grapher and both are running more accurate than their rating, so I'm pretty pleased with that. These watches were introduced in 2008 and gained popularity because for between $350 to $400, you got an elegantly styled watch with a better than average automatic movement, sapphire crystal, and a quality stainless steel bracelet with a milled clasp. The watch proved to be a versatile everyday type of watch suitable for formal wear, but also could be dressed down depending on your strap choice. These were JDM or Japanese domestic market watches that still made their way into many a watch collection around the world. These Sarbs were discontinued in 2018 and since then their price has gone up significantly. I'm only aware of one other variant, and that is the rare salmon dialed SARB037. In regards to the black dialed SARB033 and the cream dialed SARB035, it seems the black dial is the more popular of the two. A quick search on eBay shows that these watches are selling pre-owned for between $600 and $700 US. I'm not sure I would recommend paying that much for one right now though, as I think there are plenty of good alternatives both from Seiko and other brands for at or below that price, some of which I even have in my collection. Before getting into those alternatives though, let me go over the watch's components. Starting off with the dial, first you'll notice the polished silver applied bar-shaped indices that have a line down the middle. The 12 o'clock indice is larger than the others, and each indice is loomed at the end closest to the center of the dial. The 3 o'clock date window is framed and there's a color matching date wheel. You get an applied Seiko logo and dial wording of automatic in a cursive font and the jewel count in either black or white depending on the model. The SARB033 has a basic flat black dial color, while the 035 is an off-white or cream color. You can also see the small chapter ring surrounding the dial with white minute marks for the 033 and black for the 035. Overall, you get better legibility with the black dialed SARB033 than the SARB035. When it comes to the hands, the hour and minute hands are a polished Delphine shape. They have applied loom, and here's a loom shot of the dial and hands. The seconds hand is well done and extends all the way out to the minute track. It has a skeletonized diamond shape on its end, and that adds a nice touch. The case is brushed on the top of the lugs and polished on the sides. You can see that the case sort of has a double layered effect, and it's this top layer that has defined brushing. The slope bezel is also polished along with the underside of the case. Underneath the case you get a view of the 6R15 movement in action through the exhibition case back. The top of the case back, where all the watch information wording is, has a brushed finish. Like with other 6R15 movements I've seen, the rotor has a nice vertical brushing pattern. You get a well-sized 6.4 millimeter wide polished crown at the 3 o'clock position that is signed with the Seiko S logo. Onto the bracelet. I'm a bracelet guy, so for most of my watches, if it came with a bracelet, I'm most likely wearing my watch on that. In this instance, you get a quality bracelet out of the box, so much so that I haven't felt the need to replace it with any of the aftermarket bracelets that are available. You get solid end links, a milled clasp, double push button release, and the Seiko logo stamped onto the clasp. The outside of the bracelet is nicely brushed along with the clasp. The links are held together with pins and collars, and the female end links allow the bracelet to fully extend down once it leaves the case. The downside of the bracelet is that you only get 2 micro adjustment holes, and the clasp does stick out a bit when closed. I've only worn these watches on their OEM bracelets, but I think they would also look good on a leather strap as well, and that might even give the watch a dressier appearance. So in terms of similar Seiko watches, here are a few I have in my collection. First is the JDM SARB057. It's similarly styled but has no lume on the dial, has a lesser 4R36 movement. Its bracelet has a stamped metal clasp, and it is a larger 42mm case size. Unfortunately, it's also discontinued. Next is the SNKL23. It's around the same case size, has lume on the dial, but has an older 7S26 movement inside that does not hack or hand wind, and the OEM bracelet's not very good. You can see that the one here has an aftermarket bracelet and has had its Hardlux crystal upgraded to a dome sapphire one. This SNKL23 is much less expensive though, and I'm still seeing it new on eBay for around $100. Another alternative for budget-conscious buyers is the Seiko Essentials Quartz Movement line. The dark gray dial SUR311 or the silver dialed SUR307 might be good alternatives with their slightly larger 40mm case, similar handset, and sapphire crystals. The bracelets that come with these watches are of course not as good as the ones that come with the Seiko Sarbs. I have this blue dialed SUR371P titanium quartz, and you can see the visual similarities. Another similar Seiko worth mentioning is the ZSB012, which has a 4R35 movement and a Hardlux crystal, but you can sometimes find them on sale for around $200. Moving up in price, I've heard that the SARB035 is considered by some to be an alternative to these Sarbs, but it's pretty pricey at over $700 US. So you can see that there are plenty of options for all budgets if you can't find a Sarb at a reasonable price. To summarize, maybe the current day demand for these two watches is due in part to them being discontinued. They are for sure great watches to own and wear. It's up to each person to decide how much they're willing to pay for them in today's market. I admittedly have some redundant watches in my collection. For example, I could see myself one day reluctantly selling my cream-dialed SARB035, the SNKL23, my titanium SUR371, and my SARB057 to make room for other watches and just keep the SARB033 in the collection. You really can't go wrong with either of these versatile Sarbs. I got them because they're great looking watches with good specs to match. They are recognizable among watch aficionados, and I could see someone with just a 3-watch collection having one of these along with a dive watch and maybe a G-Shock to make a well-rounded collection. I think that'll be it for this video. As always, I hope you found it interesting, and if you did, feel free to like, comment, or even subscribe. For my next few videos, I'm going to cover some really nice G-Shocks that recently made their way into the collection, so be on the lookout for those videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.